Hey everybody, Mike from FisherMN here. If you watched my last video, I showed you how I purchased all these things back over on this side of me. If you haven't watched it, there's some deals out there. You might want to go back and check that out. But now that we've got this stuff, we've got to get it stored for the open water season. Starting out, I've got a box that I use. These are the Plano Edge series. I've got a couple of videos kind of outlining the boxes that I use from Plano. These are the 3600 boxes, and I just love them because I've decided to just kind of specialize each box and put them under my seat as needed for the specific trip I'm on. This is my river box. Some of the ones that I know what I'm going to put in them, I've got them labeled. Got a nice label on that. This would be skitter props, smaller jigs, some spinners, all for some smaller chatterbaits, all for river fishing. Another box I already have put together are my MEP spinners. Definitely trolling and casting for northerns, maybe a muskie here or there. This box will be handy for that. Just slide it under the seat and I'm ready to go. Early morning topwater bite. You know me if you watch my channel, I love frogs, but I also like some hard baits too. Got some skitter walks in here. I've got some choppos and a few other lures that have been handy in the past. I got a lot of bladed jigs. So I got an extra box here with some bigger size bladed jigs. I've got the big blade jigs in here, some half-ounce jigs, and some original chatterbait, kind of extra bladed jigs if I need them. And then regular jigs, mostly swim jigs. As you can see, I like the darker colors, and I'll show you. It's a nice system that Plano has where the jigs fit right in there, and you can put quite a few in. So these are the boxes that are already set. I've got my extra frogs in my frog locker. If you've seen this box from Plano, it's actually made for frogs, makes them to hang. And what's really nice is these come off of here, and you can see you can hang 10 frogs on each section here. These are my extra ones. I've got Reaction Innovation Swamp Donkeys. I've got some Spro frogs, various colors. These are all my different kinds of frogs because if you watch the channel, you know I use Booyah Pad Crashers. I've got some spiders. We're going to try those this year. And I've got some Lunker Hunt hollow body sunfish looking lures. Lots of options here for frogs. And this is not counting the frogs that you may have seen in my last video, the 22 Booyah Pad Crashers that I bought, because that's my main frog that I use. So, storage for my frogs. All right, speaking of frogs, that's what we're going to start with. We're going to get a few frogs in the under the seat box, and let's get those out and get them organized. All right, there you have it. The frog box is ready. Plenty more to replenish as northerns get them, and hopefully as those frogs get worn out by big old bass. I will point out one thing here too. I've got some Mend It in here. I've mentioned it pretty much every year that I've been frog fishing. It's a liquid plastic. If you get a tear in your frog, this can give it a little bit more life. You put it on and it dries pretty much instantly. Frog box is ready. The next box is going to be our bladed jig box for under my seat. We're going to get an assortment of those wonderful jigs, bladed jigs that I bought. We're going to have some slobber knockers in here. We're going to have some thunder crickets. We're going to have some jackhammers. And then we're going to organize and we're going to put some spinner baits on this side. So let's get a few of those out and get them ready to go. Well, I think I overdid it on the bladed jigs. I've got about 50 Evo, slobber knocker, jackhammer, and thunder crickets. I'm going to sort through and I'm going to put some in my main under my seat box. And then, luckily, I have one of these great bigger boxes that I can put some of the extra ones in. As you can see, I kind of put the label right here so that I know which each one is. You can kind of tell by looking at them, but it's always nice to kind of have maybe the size too. So let's get some of these into our under the seat box. All right, so we got Black and Bruised 3/8 ounce slobber knocker. Got 3 of those in my main box here. We've got the 3/8 ounce Evo electric shad, paired nicely with our electric shad tails. Putting 4 of them in here. Go with a couple of white slobber knockers, 3/8 ounce. This is one of my Walmart pickups. It's the Golden Shiner slobber knocker, 3/8 ounce. Had to try this interesting color. It's called Coleslaw slobber knocker, 3/8 ounce. All right, moving on. Got our Dick's Sporting Goods find, these jackhammers that we got at such a great deal. Got a variety of colors of those, and we're gonna put those in on the bottom row. Now I'm also gonna try some spinner baits this year. So I got some of these Strike King Tour Grade Finesse spinner baits. Probably put a power stinger off the back of them. Got this nice kind of shad color. So the nice thing about these Plano boxes, especially if you get a Flex Series one, you can leave an open space where I can just kind of lay a couple of these in. So we'll have one of these here. Got another darker color too. All right, back at it. Had a little battery change there. Looking at some spinner baits, putting them in this Flex Series Plano Edge 3600 box. All right, got room for one more Evo on the chatterbait side. Loving that electric shad color, so let's get that in there. So there's a good looking box of some nice bladed jigs that'll hopefully catch a bunch of fish this summer. I'm gonna close this one up. As you can see, we still have a lot more jigs scattered around here. I got a couple of solutions for how we're gonna box those up too, to replenish this box once it gets a little bit low. All right, you know I like my Plano Edge, but I was perusing Fleet Farm here in Minnesota, and I found one of these Flambeau boxes, and it's a blade crate is what they call it. And not only was it a blade crate, it was also on clearance, about half off. So it was a unique kind of style of box to store things. I was thinking for spinner baits, but there's these like envelopes, and you can hang 2 in each one. So I'm gonna put all of my custom chatterbaits in this box, as well as my extra spinner baits. So let's get that done. All right, so we got about 15 custom chatterbaits hanging up in there. The rest of the slobber knockers and jackhammers and Evos, I'm gonna put in my main jig box here. Another thing we can put in this hanging box is the rest of our spinner baits. All right, we got all of our bladed jigs organized. Underseat box ready. And box to replenish ready, along with another bunch of custom chatterbaits in here if I need a certain color. You might notice that I did leave some in the package. Never know when I'm gonna do a giveaway. It's always nice to give you a brand new package instead of an opened one. So there we go, bladed jigs. We're all set for the season. All right, it's time for some jigs. It's warm out here today, so I decided to get them all set up as we put them in the box for this round. I've got 4 kinds of jigs that I bought. I've got the Strike King Premier Model Denny Brower Pro Model jig, and I've got all black and blue. Black and blue has been my go-to color since I started jig fishing. So we've got those. Speaking of my go-to jig, I think this is gonna be it. It's the Strike King Tour Grade Tungsten jig. And I've got a set of these in some like green pumpkin colors with a couple of black and blue. But recently, Dick's Sporting Goods had a buy 3 get 3 free, so I bought another 6 black and blue jigs. And I think these are my style. They're nice and compact. That trailer will sit just great off of them. They've got a interesting just kind of hole in the top of the jig head to attach the line. Very sleek, very good. I used a couple of these maybe 2 years ago and I couldn't find them, so I was happy to see that Dick's had them. They're a little bit expensive, but I think this is going to be my go-to jig in summer 2025, as long as they last. We got lots of northerns here in Minnesota. Another deal that I got at Dick's Sporting Goods, if you saw my video when I talked about my deals, were these Buckeye lure jigs. I've got the Thump flipping jigs and some brush pandas, and they just look like they got a nice silicone skirt on them. A little bigger hook, so if I need to go a little bigger than the tungsten jigs, I'm ready for it. Those Denny Brauer jigs will do that also. Got an assortment of some kind of craw patterns, black and blue, and a couple of white. Like pairing these with a green tail, and then they kind of look like a perch to some of the bass. And then last but not least, a good go-to finesse swim jig, 3/8 ounce. That's what all these are. Maybe as I get more diversified in my fishing, I'll use other sizes, but 3/8 seems to be the perfect size for me right now. Got some of these black and purple, and I also got, I think they're a sunfish pattern, but they got a little bit of orange and green and a little bit of gray and grayish purple on the back. So let's get these jigs into this box before they melt. All right, there we have it. A great box of jigs to start out the 2025 season. Hopefully to last me most of the season, if not into next season. I'm gonna close this up and let's get to our next box. All right, back at it. Our next box is gonna be our glide / swim bait box. I got a couple of the Berkley Cull Shad, and we're gonna put a couple of these in here. Last November was the last day I was on open water, and I kind of took a little too long to get my boat ready, but my buddy Paul was nice enough to come out with me, and we had a great day of fishing. It's definitely on the channel. I'll put the link up here. And I started using Savage Gear foreplay lure, and let me tell you, when the fish were hitting this, it was a pretty cool hit. So I thought this winter I'd look for some more kind of swim bait, glide bait kinds of things. I've got like a Bass Pro version, got the Savage Gear. This is a lunker hunt. It was kind of a clearance purchase from Tackle Warehouse. You know, one of those things you add on to make it $50 so you don't have to pay shipping. See how this goes. And then Lew's has some mock lures that they've come out with. And this was a recent purchase at Dick's Sporting Goods. They had a buy 3 get 3 free. So they're a little expensive, but once you take half off, it wasn't too bad. So I got some of these in various colors, and I'm looking forward to maybe adding some big fish to the boat on those days when you feel like there's some big ones roaming around shore. I'm hoping that these are gonna bring them in. So there we go. Actually, with the Cull Shads, I might put them in a separate box because it looks like I have just enough room. This is my original kind of swim bait glide bait, and this is a Spro swim bait glide bait. This was a mystery tackle box find. Nice little blue bull bluegill. That one's going in. And I think I'll find another box for these soft plastics because all these hard baits fit in here just perfect. So there we go, swim bait glide bait box. For today, last stop crankbaits. Let's get them in the under the seat box for the kayak. I wanted to mention another Flambeau pickup this year. It's called the Crankbank. This nice box to hold the extra crankbaits that I have. I really like the design of it. It's got the Z-rust, so you're not going to have any problems with your your lures and them getting rusty. Has all these compartments that pull out, and your crankbaits go right in there. So kind of a handy way to hold a bunch of crankbaits. In the bottom, it keeps there's a grid pattern that keeps all these compartments secure. I'm gonna pick out a few here to put in my box. I like the Ott's Garage series, and Bass Pro had them on sale. So I got a bunch of these Ott's Garage crankbaits. Most of them are in the 4 to 6 foot diving range. A lot of natural colors. When fall comes, you've probably seen, if you watch the channel, some of my smallmouth videos from the Rum River here in Minnesota. Amazing fishing, and these are usually what we're using. Just a crankbait. I can see these working definitely on different lakes that I go to. Maybe the daytime bite is on and the fish have gone a little deeper. So I got some various colors, mostly shad patterns, a bright one or two. And I really think that these are gonna do the trick as I go through the open water 2025 season. So we're gonna get them in our Plano Edge box. This is just one of their basic boxes. Holds a good amount of crankbaits. They're all set to go. Well, as you can see behind me, we did a pretty good job clearing that stuff out. Two reasons. One, I had to move it out of the sun, so there is a few things left there that I need to get packed away. And two, got some good storage options. If you want to see how I use these Plano Edge tackle boxes, I've linked in the description the 2 videos I've done on them. The first one was the first year I used them. I found them on clearance, and I've just kind of switched over to them. I like these Plano Edge boxes, but I couldn't pass up a new kind of innovative flambeau box either. So I'm always on the hunt for good storage solutions. I bet you're the same way. Seems like every year they're making improvements. So nice to pick up things to keep the gear organized. So there it is. That's how I organize my tackle. For my kayak fishing and my boat fishing, I just have a bunch of grab and go boxes that I can use depending on what kind of fishing I'm going to be doing. Let me know how you organize your tackle. I appreciate you watching this video. I'll see you on the next one.